My chair just broke. What's going on, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Kevin Rapkoch Fishing. If you're new to the channel, I fish for everything. I love fly fishing for bass, for trout, for carp, for catfish, whatever. I love to catch it all. I love to learn how to fish for everything. If you're interested in multi-species fishing, multi-species fly fishing, this is the right channel for you. Please subscribe and consider checking out the rest of my content after you enjoy this video. So here we go. You want to learn how to fly fish for largemouth bass. We're going to talk about it, go over some strategies, some flies, what gear to be using, and then I'm going to show you guys some new footage of some largemouth bass that I caught earlier this week. All right, enough of the intro stuff. Let's get to the topic at hand, how to fly fish for bass. I got a prop that I brought a prop to help you guys. I don't know where it is. Give me 1 second. Found it. I found it. It was up here the whole time. I found it. All right, this is a largemouth bass. Actually, it's just a piece of wood, but it's carved out and painted to look like a largemouth bass. If you've never fished for largemouth bass, they're different than other fish you may have gone after before. They're even different to fish for than their close relative, smallmouth bass. So I'm gonna start by explaining how largemouth bass behave and how they like to feed. In my experience with fishing for largemouth bass, there are 3 primary ways that you'll get them to strike the lure or fly that you're using. Number 1 is if they're actively feeding. Similar to other species, morning and night, they're out actively hunting and looking for food. At that time, pretty much any way you fish for them, you're causing that movement of flies, they'll take it. Pretty simple, standard fishing. Number 2 is defensive feeding, where they're actively moving around defending their territory. They might not be hunting food, so if you have a fly out here that's not doing anything, they might not choose to go and eat it because they're hungry, but if you start zipping that fly around, they will chase that fly and try to eat it and bite it, injure it, get it out of their way, or kill it because it's a threat to them. And number 3 is simply territorial, where they have their spot that for whatever reason, they want to be there. If anything lands in that area, it's not eating and it's not necessarily aggressively chasing it away. They'll simply just swim over, pick up the fly or lure or whatever it is, and move it away from their area. It's at that time where you can set the hook. So with those 3 ideas in mind of how largemouth bass like to feed or strike a lure or fly, when it comes to fly fishing for them, we'll focus more on 2 of them. The third one, that territorial, where you're just dropping stuff right in front of wherever they want to be, it's more dedicated to spin fishing because you can use heavy weights and get soft plastics or whatever type of lure down on the ground right in front of them. And it's just a lot easier to do that with spinning gear using rigs like the Ned rig and the drop shot. For fly fishing, it's going to be more about the first 2 concepts we talked about, actively feeding largemouth bass and territorial largemouth bass that are chasing things away. Let me show you a few flies that you can use to get these largemouth bass to bite. Here's a sweet fly box that my friend Jan gave me. Shout out to you, Jan. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it. Even got the Kevin Rapkoch Fishing logo ingrained on it, and a cool picture of me and my kiddos. Here's an example of some flies you might use for largemouth bass. You have like popper flies. These are floating flies. These are used to mimic struggling fish on top water, or like dragonflies or something like that. Here's a smaller version of that popper fly. It's top water and it looks like a dragonfly. Here's some other types of bass flies. As you can see, there's a lot to them. Bass respond aggressively to a lot of moving parts and pieces and a lot of attractive types of flies. I'll put up a list of different colors that are very effective for largemouth bass. Yes, everything works for largemouth bass. But for me, you can keep it simple. Here's the fly that I've caught the most largemouth bass on. It's the simple leech bugger pattern. So as you can see, tons of different flies can be used for largemouth bass, but it's less about what you're using. You're not matching the hatch with largemouth bass. I should say, you're rarely matching the hatch with largemouth bass. If there's a ton of shad around and that's all they're eating, you might need to throw something that looks like a shad. But usually, largemouth bass are eating everything around them or being defensive and chasing everything away. So it's more about the technique. And the most important thing to remember when fly fishing for bass, movement. You gotta have movement. Movement entices strikes. In fact, once you start fly fishing for largemouth bass more and more, you're gonna become a better fisherman for everything, because you'll start to understand that all fish respond to movement, especially in defensive striking. You can get trout to bite when they're not feeding out of defensiveness. You can get carp to bite out of defensiveness. Bass, salmon, perch, bluegill, catfish, everything. All fish respond the same in using their mouth to chase away irritants, or using their mouth to chase away things that they need to defend themselves against. As you can see by these flies, they're pretty big. You can handle some largemouth bass up to a pound with like a 3-weight fly rod. You can handle largemouth bass up to 3-4 pounds, maybe even 5, with a 5-weight fly rod. But it becomes difficult to throw the size of flies that are often effective for catching largemouth bass with anything under a 6 or 7-weight fly rod. I prefer to use an 8-weight fly rod for largemouth bass, mostly because when I'm fishing for largemouth, I'm also fishing for carp at the same time. I like the 8-weight because it handles the big carp that I catch, but also I like the 8-weight because it's strong enough of a rod to easily throw these big largemouth bass flies around, and I don't get the fatigue in my arm or shoulder. All right, for line weight for largemouth bass, I always go with a straight 10 to 12 pound fluorocarbon leader, and that's whether or not I'm fly fishing with wet flies or dry flies. I prefer the fluorocarbon because it disappears underwater. Any dry fly you're using for largemouth bass, those poppers or bigger hoppers or anything, they're bigger dry flies. They won't be pulled under by that sinking fluorocarbon line. 10 to 12 pound. You don't need to use super light line for largemouth bass. It's not necessary, and trust me, if you tangle with a 3, 4, 5 pound largemouth bass, you're gonna wanna use all the line you can. They are tough fish. If you're using 5 pound test with a 5 pound largemouth bass, it's gonna snap your line in half. They are powerful. And as far as the fly line, I just use floating line because I like to change between dry flies and wet flies all the time. If I need to add split shot to get a wet fly down or anything like that, I'll do that. But normally I don't need to. Bass flies are normally heavy enough on their own, and bass will move a distance to strike something. You don't have to always get it right down in their face. But if you need to, you can add a little bit of weight to do that. So we're at the point where I want to show you guys some catches that I've had this week. These catches where I'm casting out to structure to spots where I think largemouth bass are holding and stripping that fly by them. Again, their aggression takes over. For one of the catches, I did see a territorial largemouth bass, so I did slowly strip the fly right above where it was sitting, and I think out of aggression and defensiveness, it came up and grabbed the fly. But anyway, check out the catches. I think you'll enjoy them. It's 4 catches. Each one gets progressively bigger. Take a look. Fish on, guys. I think we got a bass there. Nice. First fish of the day. Fighting pretty good. Might be a decent bass. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, not bad. There we go. I actually think he took the top fly, shook it, and this fly hit him in the face. If I'm being honest, I think he hit that top fly. I felt something like release during the catch, and then that bottom fly got him, but not bad. We'll take that. First fish of the day. See you later, buddy. Fish on, guys. Bass took it at the last second. Nice. Took that trailer fly, last second. Not a bad one. Oh, nice, guys. Nice. Yep. That was pretty sweet. Heck yeah, guys. Look at that right there. Nice, guys. Number 2 on the day. Beauty. All right, buddy. Fish on, guys. Got a bass. There we go. Got one on that back fly again. Not a bad one. Best one of the day for sure. Oh yeah, that's a good fish. Nice. Not bad. Took that little minnow right there, guys. All right, guys, definitely our best bass of the day right there. Took that little minnow pattern. Pretty sweet. There it goes. Nice. Yeah. You can catch good sized bass on small flies, that's for darn sure. Fish on, guys. Got one of those bass right there. Got another one to take it. Oh, that's a good sized bass. Oh yeah. Nice, guys. Yeah, that's a good bass right there. Digging in. Sweet. Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good fight. That is a good fight right there, guys. Heck yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good bass. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's a chunky one. Look at that. Yep, took that one right there. Sweet, we just put that on. Nice size bass right there, guys. Heck yeah. Sweet. Let's get it released. There it goes. Sweet, guys. All right, everybody, there you go. I think you can see just by the catches in the video how awesome and fun it is to catch largemouth bass on the fly rod. That was an 8 weight that I was using, and you can see even with an 8 weight, a 3-4 pound bass is making me work. They are just powerful and awesome fish. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the footage. If you did, please hit the like button. It helps these videos immensely. And again, thanks so much to everybody for helping me reach 5,000 subscribers. I'm really honored that you're choosing to follow my journey. And I hope you'll continue to enjoy my videos fishing here in Arizona, when I travel to Utah, Montana, Alaska, and wherever else this fishing channel takes me. Guys, thanks so much for joining me again today. Kevin Rapkoch. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.